Hello everyone, and welcome to EP 250. Now, as you guys know, for every 50 or 100 episodes, we like to do something a little bit special, and I was totally out of fucking ideas for this one. In fact, I've been out of ideas since the first 50 ep special, but thankfully we are moving, and I did find some things that we can use for material. These here, quite interesting, quite shameful, one would say, are magazines. Popular fishing magazines, Fishing for Life. I'm sure you've heard of them. No, you haven't, because I wrote these. I wrote these magazines when I was 12 years old. You can see me on the cover there, kissing a undersized brim. What's more shameful than that? Well, there's plenty in here that is, so we're gonna go through it. Now, there's some really awful shit in here. You can see the font is always different on every article. There are articles, and it's just an absolute laugh. So we're going to take the mickey out of me for this episode. But I can't do it myself because, as you guys know, I can hardly read as is, and I certainly can't write. And so I've actually got some help. I reached out to the University of Florida, and we've actually got a professor who kindly has flown out to help us for this episode. I believe it's Professor or Dr. Rachel Lichter. Nice to meet you, sir. It's nice to thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate it. So, do you want to just talk a little bit about what you're planning on doing this episode with these magazines?
Doing an in-depth analysis of this literary masterpiece.
Okay. Well,
Fishing for Life, issue 1. For Life, issue 1 and 2.
And 2, yeah. So which one was the first one? Do you know?
This one.
Yeah, you can tell from how it's
handwritten note of issue 1.
Well, shall we go through maybe some articles and see what there is to see? So we'll read out what's on the top here. Stingrays, relentless nuisance. This is just or hard fight.
A little bite piece.
What is, in your opinion, a hard fight delicacy? Do you know what that is?
Hard. You can see here it's cut off there as well, so it's actually nard fight delicacy.
Okay, well, let's have a read of the first few words here, if you wouldn't mind reading them out. You can see I used the papyrus font, which is 1 cringe point. We should measure the cringe points. Okay, read out the first sentence.
Saltwater luring. Surprisingly enough.
Is luring a word?
Yeah.
It is? Okay.
Surprisingly enough, despite the thousands and millions of fish difference, freshwater are more fluent lure takers than saltwater fish this month.
Now I've got a picture of some lures here. The same lure, just in a bunch of different colours. We can kind of skip over this article. Then we get to the main stuff.
Featuring all of the word art there.
Featuring word art. Shallow water brimmin. And I don't think there's really too much in here that's kind of... I do want to point out the poetry in the first paragraph here, if I may. Brim. It is almost a pastime. A sport to many. I grew up to people casting of beaches and rivers into the endless water.
So almost like
Does it actually pay off to cast into deep water? Man would expect. Man spelled with 2 M's. Recently,
that's a person's name. It's actually Professor Man, my colleague at the University of Florida.
Of course.
Man would expect.
If you wouldn't mind reading the last part of this.
It's a usual expletive we use at the university when to express disbelief. We'd say, man would expect.
Big brain time. If you wouldn't mind reading the rest of that, because there are some cringe points to come.
Recently, my fishing has gone off the charts.
Cringe point.
It's becoming an obsession.
Cringe point.
Rather than a hobby. I am going to take you through all my experiences of shallow water brimmin. In fact, some decent fish, 30 centimeters and plus.
30 centimeters.
Sadly, that 40 centimeter beast has eluded me so far.
So, it's becoming more... It's almost like I'm talking about killing women rather than fishing. It's becoming an obsession rather than a hobby. It's gone off the charts.
It's completely nonsensical.
We've got Tackle Tech, Kamikaze KMLD 25. Are you familiar with the Kamikaze KAMLD? Now, I'm not sure why, but I wanted to put ellipses in the title, so there's just 2 ellipses at the front of Tackle Tech. It's one of the greatest reels. Okay, so just keep in mind, I was 12. At this point, I'd used maybe 5 fishing reels in my life. And if you wouldn't just mind reading out the first 3 or so sentences.
What's this? This is a review.
This is a review of a reel. Yeah.
Alright.
And I get straight into how good the reel is too.
The Kamikaze is the world's best reel by a mile. It is easily affordable at only $60 on eBay.
Best reel in the world is $60. Easily the best
The
reel in
drag
the world.
ratio is 3.11. It can fit maximum line on the reel. Approximately 500 meters of 80-pound braid. It has 8 ball bearings, and these are easily felt when holding the reel.
You can feel the ball bearings in it. So this is about fishing at a creek called Running Creek at Andrew Drummond Park. If you wouldn't mind reading from there onwards and just assess the literary genius of what I'm saying, because I may have discovered something earlier than others in this paragraph.
You
find
can't hate a creek.
You can't.
It is a beautiful living thing, and
But
Running Creek
it's not technically living.
is no different. Quite. There are many deep pools in Running Creek, many opportunities for big fish in a small creek. Running Creek may sound like a bloody stupid name for a creek, but in reality is an ironic name.
It's ironic.
Some creeks have many stagnant pools, but as far as I know, this is not the case with Running Creek. So where's the irony?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know how it's ironic. I'm not sure.
You could put a boat in one end of the creek and ride it to the other end.
Which is definitely not true.
It is a better than normal creek.
It is a better than normal. You take your average creek. So if we've got creeks here, let me do a diagram for you. We've got shit creeks, we've got normal creeks, and right here we've got Running Creek. Better than normal, definitely not shit. In this one, I admit to doing things that are illegal. Should we go through those?
I see why this wasn't published by any reputable author.
I don't think we will go through the illegal things I did. For some reason, in this article, these are just fish. It's upside down from the article, as you can see. It's upside down. In this article, I'm detailing a fishing trip where I went with some friends from from primary school. And I had to make sure everyone knew whose friends they were and how close they were to me. So if you just wanted to read from the bottom paragraph through to where I stopped detailing all my friends.
Whatever it was, we didn't care. Most should know teens are not easily discouraged. And it would take more than that to turn up a bunch of teens from fishing. That day had to be the best fishing on the Logan I've ever had. Me, Alex my bestie, Ryan also my bestie, Angela my bestie at the time, Sarah my friend and Angela's bestie, Samara my sister, and Chelsea my sister's bestie.
There we go.
It's a very complicated web of
It is
relationships.
key that you know that Sarah was Angela's bestie and my friend. So we weren't besties, but we were friends, but she was besties with Angela.
Kilometers away from Alex's house at a secret spot. No one else was there. There we
Except for my bestie Ryan, my bestie Alex, Angela my bestie at the time, her bestie Sarah, my sister and her bestie Chelsea. They were all there.
So you say at the time, did Angela stop being your bestie?
I don't know, I had a falling out with Angela apparently. The article before was actually quite gold too if you wanted to read that one. This is about the Logan River, guys.
The Logan was home to lots of rumours. As I slept at my best mate's place, we woke up to murder. Someone had been murdered in the Logan River. Their cut-up body was found at the bottom of the bridge, about 500 metres away from where we were sleeping, and about 2 kilometres away from where we were fishing.
Yep.
Whether or not the story was fully real, we cannot tell.
So
You present it as fact, and then go on to contradict.
But I'm not sure it happened. If we were, let me direct you around a little bit. So this one's called Luca Magic, and it's probably the longest article here. It's this page, and then it's also this next page too. It must be a 500-page article. And in this, keeping in mind I was 12, I detail what exactly happened when I lost a fish. So if you wouldn't mind reading this out now, it's quite sad, so if you could use a passive tone of voice for it, it'd be great.
Maybe put some sad music in the background.
For sure, absolutely. If you could go from maybe end onwards, and you'll know where to stop.
And in the first 2 hours of being in Iluka, I was well and truly into a monster. In the first hour, I was hooked up to something phenomenal. There were only really little bites. I set expecting bream, but instead, a surprise. It runs and does not stop. 25 metres gone, 50 metres gone, 75 metres gone. I need to stop him. I got thick nylon on my rod, so I had a chance. I wish I wasn't fishing on my own. I need help. He runs it 5 more times until he runs it shorter and more powerful. Eventually I get him in, closer than ever before. It isn't a stingery, because this thing was making boils at the surface. Eventually, it's so close, and I fight so hard. I can't lose now. One last pull. I try so hard that it is pulling as well. Get there. Do I get this fish? No. My drag flukes, and the rod snaps in 2.5 minute fight, and I lost. I walk home, devastated. One opportunity missed. I talk to many people. They say tuna or Spanish mackerel, neither suited to the gear I was using. I later wrote, it would be unfair to say that I was upset. I was...
Go on. I was
so depressed.
I was so depressed.
I was contemplating suicide. It's just exclamation mark.
So that's where we can leave that one. So I wasn't just upset about losing that fish. I was depressed.
The next following paragraph seems to take a more happy note as he resurges into glory of shallow water.
See, when I get suicidal, it only lasts 10-15 minutes.
This is the catfish. This is possibly my favourite piece of this magazine.
Do you think that this was
Fishing for Life?
Fishing for Life. Do you think that this was kind of the turning point in the magazine? Because it was all pretty average up until this point.
This is where you really started to hit your stride.
But this article about the catfish, maybe... You're just looking at the pretty lures, aren't you?
Yeah.
Struggling for words. It must be good.
A thesis on how great the catfish are in comparison to all other fish.
Yeah.
So we have here a whole page detailing the feats of these other fish like mangrove jack, brim, flathead, and then we compare it to his favourite Australian fish, the catfish.
I actually write that. When I was 12 years old, my favourite fish to catch was a catfish. Now that's 10 cringe points.
It uses
10 cringe points.
He describes it as using its bulk in a sinister and demining way.
I don't know what demining is.
I have no idea what demining. I don't think that's right in
It's
that sentence.
demining. Catfish are very demining.
Perhaps demining is a word, but I don't think that's what it means.
I don't think it's a word. You're the literary expert, Colonel Ray Lichter.
Yes.
Colonel, it's from your time at war.
Yes. So to sum things up, love the catfish. It doesn't deserve to be hated. There's this massive debate in the fishing community.
But no, there is though. Can I just put this video in here? I think this is from ep about 180 when I was fishing the Esk River and I caught the first catfish of the day, and you'll see just how much I love the catfish. Yeah, that's a fish. Oh, get out of town. You are kidding me. You are fucking kidding me. I can't get away from them, man. 12-year-old me taking on years and years of fishing knowledge passed down from generations of this country and saying that catfish are actually the fish you should be targeting. So, issue 1, what did you think? Comparing to an average fishing magazine, what would you rate this?
Can we get like a star rating?
Yeah, so
instead of stars, we'll have 4s.
4s, because fishing for life, of course.
And so I'll give this 4 out of 4.
4 out of 4. 4 4s out of 4, guys. That's an incredible amount of 4s for the first issue.
For this first 4 issue.
I am selling these guys $19.99 a pop, and it does come with a free drink warmer that has a big 4 on it. But if you thought that one was good, it only got better. This here is Fishing for Life, and it's actually got a binder and a laminated cover and a cardboard back. So clearly I was starting to put a bit more effort in.
Instead of spending 10 cents at Office Wax, you spent
25. Yeah. And then, you know, it just went up from here. As you can tell from the front, guys, you can't even read what's written there because I've used yellow font in a sunset background. So I think in this one, just to get you guys hype, we get how to fight a mangrove jack, what to look for when yabbying, how to avoid turtles. I believe it's about Ninja Turtles. I was having some real trouble there with Ninja Turtles at that stage in my life. So what you'll find a lot in issue 2 is that I get into the psychological reasons behind fishing, because I thought I was smart and I was wrong. And so a lot of these articles are about, oh, look at me, I'm so clever, I'm thinking outside the box. See this box? I'm outside it. But in reality, it's just, it's like if the box was a trash can and I was inside the trash can. So
the trash can was on fire.
filled with copies of Fishing for Life. Anyway, so this is about big mouth fish. Here we go. This is something I've been thinking a lot about lately. Why are fish with small mouths such brilliant fighters? Did you know that? I've just stated it and now it's true. I believe that the answer is obvious. Small mouth is the key in the question, and this doesn't get to be about blowjobs, which is shocking, and I think it should have been.
Do you think this could be potentially because you're 13 years old at the time?
Maybe. A fish with a small mouth. I wish I was getting blowjobs instead of writing these. Can I just say that on camera? I wish I was joining ISIS rather than writing these. I can't think of an activity I would.
Pretty contentious opinion there.
It's contentious writing in these. Anyway, small mouth is the key in this question. A fish with a small mouth has a small proximity in its mouth. Did you know that? Incredible.
Small mouth.
Damn.
Small proximity.
Whoa.
Small mouth.
Dog. And you thought it was getting better in issue 2. You were wrong. Therefore, the hook goes in much sharper, causing more pain. Following?
Mm-hmm.
Following? The pain felt to a larger fish would be almost unpresent because of its huge mouth. Perhaps this is because... Hang on, it gets better. Perhaps this is because the wider the mouth, the more area for pain there is to cover. Perhaps it's because they've swallowed the hook, and a hook in the throat doesn't hurt as much as a hook in the side of the mouth. How I came up with that thesis, I don't know. Perhaps it's because they... so it doesn't hurt as much, causing it to react swiftly with no fight at all. I will probably never figure this out, but I'm glad to have answered one question for the day. Now, what question was answered in that ramble shack of this shithole piece of writing, I will not know. But we now know that pain is a key factor in how
we have an anecdote when you were fishing the Logan once with 2 mates.
An anecdote? Which were the mates, and were they my besties?
So here we introduce your best mate.
My best mate,
It's
who
about
was?
mid-afternoon. I'm fishing with my best mate, Dylan.
Dylan. Do you remember Dylan?
He was in briefly there.
I remember
he went to
Dylan.
high school.
I went through friends. I still go through friends. I used to have this friend named Blake who was on the show all the time. Unfortunately,
distant cousins.
You and him, really?
Yeah. Well, see, my name's
Rafe Blichter.
Rafe Blichter, Professor Rafe Blichter.
Professor.
MD. And he's Blake Richter, obviously.
Just dickhead.
And
just DH.
Centuries ago, our ancestors
We're
split.
cutting it.
Some went with the Richter family, some went with the Blichter family.
What a question. Okay, so in this article I said that answers that question. There was no question answered, but I do want one answered now. Why did your parents call you Rake?
They were gardeners. My sister's name is Shovel.
Your parents don't look Mexican.
How do you know? My sister's name's Shovel. My brother's name is Trowel.
Sister's name should be Ho.
Tips to avoid a troublesome turtle. I know. You're coming into this article already thinking, oh damn, how is this going to be a 2-page article? That's what I want. You mean what? The answer is tiny text and complete bullshit.
And multiple photos of turtles, as if do you want to just show the camera as if anyone might have forgotten what a turtle is? This is in fact what a turtle looks like. Turtles. Just in case. I often forget what things look like and need to be reminded of
baby turtle.
Mid-article. I've written an article about carp. I've written an article about catfish. I've written an article about stingray. You'll see one in a sec about pike eels. And you've just finished hearing about an article about turtles. Geez, Nat, you really are shit at picking fish. What fish could you possibly pick that's worse than those? Geez, how about a fucking 2-page article on...
the toadfish.
Toadfish. Every fisherman's dream. Big catfish, small creek.
So the same theme with the big mouth.
So we've got 4 articles about catfish. We've got 1 article about flathead, and I think I criticised them in it. We've got an article about pike eels, an article about toadfish. So It's pretty mixed. It's pretty mixed.
This is a review on the shovel nose and describing whether it is a ray or a shark.
Yeah, see again, an intellectual article figuring out whether the shovel nose is a ray or a shark.
Oh,
answer.
Interesting image in the archives of a lady with a harpoon. There's several shovel noses.
Yeah. Shovel nose sharks or rays? What conclusion did I come to?
This
is the last article too.
What's with the extra parts in there?
Hang on, why do I... Okay, we need... What the fuck? Oh, I understand what I did. So I tallied different things about the shovel nose and then decided whether it was a ray or a shark myself. Now, you may have thought there's some biological or DNA-based evidence in it. No, it's just my tally. So what was the end tally?
Shark. 2 points. Stingray. 9.
Which means that the shovel nose...
I believe it is now pronounced the shovel nose ray.
It should say ray, not stingray, because it doesn't have a stinger, so it can't be stingray. I've never once heard anyone be like, oh, it's a shovel nose stingray.
This is really an everyman's magazine.
It really suffered from a lack of a tackle tech. I feel like me telling you all, I think that without the tackle tech, I'd probably only give it 3 4s out of 4 possible 4s. But I think if it had a tackle tech, it could have been more. Could have been much more. I feel like the location reviews of the 2 places that I'd been fishing before in my life was great. But I really enjoyed the reel reviews of the 2 reels that I'd used before in my life. So I think without the tackle tech, 3 4s out of a possible 4. What did you think?
It's, as always, I'm a big fan of fishing for life. So of course that has to be 4 4s.
4 4s out of impossible 4s? Yeah. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed this. I believe we've been filming for almost 40 minutes. 40 minutes. I just need to edit that down because most of this is utter shit. I wrote these when I was young. I'm glad I found them. And genuinely, even though they are awful and they are super cringy, it does just go to show how much I cared about fishing when I was a young child. And it does go to show that not much has really changed. I still love the catfish. I still really think that stingrays do put on a spectacular fight. I still think that the kamikaze is the greatest reel of all time. And I am still depressed and want to kill myself. Thanks for watching.